Hi everyone, I'm Manfan Zeng. My research proposal is about principal instructional leadership and teacher self-efficacy in primary schools in Guangzhou, China. In this research, the two variables are instructional leadership and self-efficacy. The participants are principal and teacher. The context is primary schools in Guangzhou, China. Now, let's begin with the first part, introduction and background. In this part, I will introduce Principal Instructional Leadership, PIL, and the Teacher Self-Efficacy, TSE, and why I choose the topic as my research. Principal Instructional Leadership refers to principal leadership practice that seek to realize students' ability to succeed and improve teachers' ability to teach effectively. Teacher self-efficacy refers to a teacher's confidence and belief in their ability to persist successfully and complete instructional tasks, which has some impact on students' academic achievement and development. Teacher self-efficacy is directly and positively impacted by principal instructional leadership, particularly when it comes to creating a positive learning environment. Effective instructional leadership significantly improves the ability to predict teachers' levels of self-efficacy. The next part is statement of the problem. The education system in China has undergone substantial changes because of the application of China's double reduction policy. This policy seeks to reduce the burden on students and enhance the standard of instruction in compulsory education. While this policy has been welcomed by many, but it has also created new challenges for school leaders in maintaining high standards of academic achievement. One of the key factors that can influence academic outcome is the principal instructional leadership. Numerous elements that influence the school can help the principal enhance the outcomes, but aspects relating to teacher are most useful. Despite numerous existing research on principal instructional leadership and teacher self-efficacy at home and abroad, few studies were conducted in Guangzhou primary schools under the background of China's double reduction policy implemented for nearly 2 years. This means there is still a gap in this research on the relationship between PIL and the TSE in Guangzhou primary schools. Therefore, this study aims to fill this gap. The next part is research objectives and questions. First, to examine principal instructional leadership in primary schools in Guangzhou, China. Second, to examine teacher self-efficacy in primary schools in Guangzhou, China. Third, to investigate the relationship between principal instructional leadership and the teacher self-efficacy in primary schools in Guangzhou, China. Fourth, to examine which of the dimensions among principal instructional leadership influences teacher self-efficacy in primary schools in Guangzhou, China, and the research question corresponding to research objectives. Here will not be repeated again. The next part, research design and the methodology. This study will be conducted using quantitative methodology and a non-experimental design. The sample will be selected through probability random sampling, and the data will be gathered through an online questionnaire. Population. According to 2021 statistical bulletin on the development of education in Guangzhou, Guangzhou has 65,000 full-time primary school teachers. Sample. Given population is 65,000, the minimum sample size will be determined as 382 teachers located in Guangzhou Primary School. Instrument. In this part, here are two types of scales. First is Principal Instructional Management Rating Scale, and the second is Teacher Self-Efficacy Scale. Now, I will introduce the first scale. This study will use Principal Instruction Management Rating Scale, adapted from Hellinger to measure principal instructional leadership. And this scale including 3 dimensions, 10 subscales, and 50 items. Each subscale consists of 5 items. The specific subscales that make up of each dimension are shown as follows. As we can see, The scale has three dimensions. First is defining the school mission. Second is managing the instructional program. And the third is developing the school learning climate. In the first dimension, including frames the school goals, communicate the school goals. The second dimension including coordinate the curriculum, supplies, and evaluate instruction, and monitor student progress. The third dimension including protect instructional time, provides incentive for teachers, provides incentive for learning, promote professional development, and maintains high visibility. The second scale is teacher self-efficacy scale, which is referenced from Bandura and will use to measure teacher self-efficacy. This scale including 7 subscales and 30 items. The details are shown in the following table. As we can see, the 7 subscales are efficacy to influence decision-making, efficacy to influence school resources, instructional self-efficacy, disciplinary self-efficacy, efficacy to enlist parental involvement, efficacy to enlist community involvement, and efficacy to create positive school climate. The demographic information are gender, age, years of service in the current school, and the years of service in the profession. All items will be scored using a 6-point Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. The next part is data analysis techniques. This study will use SPSS software to provide a description of the collected data and calculate the median, mean, mode, and the standard deviation for each question of the questionnaire. The first, to examine principal instructional leadership, a descriptive analysis will be used. Second, to examine teacher self-efficacy, a descriptive analysis will be used. Third, to identify the relationship between principal instructional leadership and the teacher self-efficacy, a correlational analysis will be used to determine the association between principal instructional leadership and the teacher self-efficacy. And in this part, Pearson correlation coefficients will be used to measure the strength and the diversion. Fourth, to examine which of the dimensions among principal instructional leadership and the teacher self-efficacy. Multiple regression analysis will be used to examine the relationship between the two variables. The next part is significance of the study. I divide it into 3 parts: for teachers, for principals, and for policymakers. For teachers, this study can provide evidence-based advice to improve teacher professional development and enhance student academic performance. For principal, this study, by identifying specific dimensions of principal instructional leadership, affects teacher self-efficacy. Principals can focus their efforts on specific areas to strengthen instructional leadership skills, ultimately improve education quality. For policymakers, this study can provide valuable insights for Guangzhou's policymakers to improve education standards by identifying the factors related to effective PIL in the context of China's double reduction policy. Here is my reference. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can make a comment for me. Thank you, everyone.